What's up, everyone? Hello, everyone. My name is Vinny Rodriguez, also known to many as 8-Figure Vision. Guys, I'm here today. I have a vision to share with you guys today. And this is a shout out to everyone in my Comfort Killers Nation. I'm sending you guys, I found this book very early on this week, and I'm recording this way sooner than when it's actually going to be launched, just because it's so freaking intense. It's so awesome, guys. Like, man, I mean, where do we start with this? This is a book. The book in our vast book series for today is Cosmos by Carl Sagan. Ladies and gentlemen, this book is loaded with possibility. Right? Just look at this picture. You want to talk about possibility? That's possibility. Just imagine viewing the earth from the other side. This book, Cosmos, right? Many of you know who Carl Sagan is. Carl Sagan, he was a guy who was well known for having a show called Cosmos. Was very popular at the time. I think it came out like in the 90s or so. And man, it just went over everything. He was kind of like the Bill Nye the Science guy for astronomy, planetary science and all that. And so this book, pretty much each chapter is based on an episode from that show. I will guarantee you 9 times out of 10, this book probably will give you a lot more juice and a lot more knowledge than those episodes, right? You can still visualize. Now, I haven't seen any of the episodes. I only saw one episode. So I found it in this book and I thought it was very, I thought it was real. This actually gets a lot more in depth, and it's something that I would suggest. You could kind of skim around it and choose the topic that you most want, the one that you really want to look into. So for example, if you're reading a book a day like me, you might want to, I'm going to skim through the entire thing. I'm going to read the entire book, right? But what I would suggest you guys do is just pick one that you like. Travels in space and time, The Backbone of Night, Blues for Red Planet, The Persistence of Memory. That was a good one for me. You choose which subject most matters, but it doesn't really, you don't have to read it front to back. You can read it in different parts, right? And based on your interest. So now that I beat that like a dead horse, I'm gonna share a chapter with you guys that I thought was the most powerful of all of these chapters. And actually it's kind of a mixture of, it talks about the brain does much more than recollect. It compares, synthesizes, analyzes, and generates abstractions. We must figure out much more than our genes can know. Right? That is why the brain library is some 10,000 times larger than the gene library. So that's the information and the knowledge that we've created in our earth today is more vast than the amount of genes that we have as a humanity. Now, if you think about that, that's information, right? Because what's genetics? Genetics is DNA, right? I'm not a scientist in any sense of the way. I'm not an expert on the subject, but the book talks about, right? DNA is a molecular form of information. It tells us about, what's the hair type, what's the origin, all of that stuff. So our gene pool, right, the trillions of genes that we have in our body is still less than the amount of information that we put out. So what does that say? That means, guys, that we're tipping the scale, right? If you think of 1,000 years ago or 2,000 years ago, the amount of knowledge that the philosophers came out with initially, right? The guys like Galileo, guys like Socrates, and all of these amazing individuals, Newton, they did not have the same amount of information that we have today, right? In fact, every second that passes, every millisecond that passes, more and more information is being created. That information is being created at a rate that's much larger than the expansion of our own gene pool. That is why I read a book a day. You see, because me reading a book a day means that I'm intaking information, right? I'm taking in more and more information every day. So I'm diving into another realm and another world. Some may even say another dimension. And me going into this other dimension, I get to speak to the past. I get to speak to people, right? When we talked about the Gandhi, I'll release that book review soon. But I get to hear Gandhi speak to me, right? I get to hear guys like Sam Walton speak to me. I get to hear people and their stories and their feelings, their expressions, their thoughts, right? It's all recorded in history. That's the power of writing something down, right? When you write your goals down, that's how powerful it is. It's because you're creating something in that moment. It's there and it will forever stay there. That is what's powerful about reading, guys, just as much as writing, right? They talked about, in here in the book, they talked about going through, when language was created and how much language has expanded. It's happened in such a quick fraction of time. And what's amazing is that it's only a mirror of the expansion of the universe that we're in. It really is. Like, think about it. The universe that we're in. So he talks about the dimensions in here, right? We live in a 3-dimensional world, right? But if you look at all of the dimensions, the first dimension, this book talks about it. The first dimension is a single point, right? You draw a line from one point to one another, it's on a flat plane. But if you draw a 90-degree angle on that flat plane, right? You draw a 90-degree angle on that flat plane, now what you have is you create a shape. Now you create this space. See, that 90-degree angle, that line that you drew, this line right here, when you put it on a 90-degree angle, now creates a square, right? This line creates a square. So now what happens is, let's say you draw 90-degree angles on the opposite direction in all ways. Now you create a cube, right? 90 degrees this way, 90 degrees this way, 90 degrees this way. Now you create a cube. What happens after that is, some people believe in a 4th dimension. So we're not able to view the 4th dimension here, but let's just say that with this, we created on this shape a 90-degree angle going outside of each dimension, out of the length, the width, and the height. Right? If we created that, we're creating a 4th dimension, right? But that we cannot see, it's not visible to us. See, so the awesome thing about this is that, guys, what do you think happens in the 4th dimension, right? The 4th dimension is something that we cannot perceive, we cannot touch. That's why there's so many phenomena that exist on this earth that we do not understand. There's things that we view, there's sightings, right? The northern lights, things like that, that sometimes we view and we're not able to interpret. And it's because there are probably things going on a dimensional level. Some people believe in wormholes, right? Where we can actually travel into a wormhole and pop out at another end. That popping out is another dimension that we cannot view. So if that's possible, what's on the other end of that wormhole? It's probably another dimension, right? So if there's another dimension on that, how many more times can we expand outside of our universe, right? When we used to go from wired communication to wireless communication to satellite communication, right? Well, the possibilities are endless. Therefore, our universe, right? The theory is that the universe is infinite, and there's infinite possibilities, right? It continues to expand. But let's say if light continues to travel in space, and if light continues to travel in space, it can continue to go on an infinite plane. Some theorize that what if this infinite plane, if the universe does have an end, Well, if the universe has an end and light travels up here, it'll stop. And if it stops right here, then that means that the universe, like this picture, is contained. And why is it black? Why is it contained? Well, some theorize that it's probably because it's in a black hole. So some people wonder, hey, what does it look like to be in a black hole? Well, look around you. We're probably in a black hole right now. Think about it, right? Think about it, because what ends up happening is that from one single point creates data, creates information. That information, the farther you zoom out, if I put this book all the way over here, the words are going to look less, smaller, smaller, smaller. It doesn't mean the words aren't there. They're just getting smaller, smaller, smaller until they look like a point. So take this universe and pull it all the way back. Eventually it's going to look like one solid dot, 1 point. That's dimension 1. So you see, it's so amazing, guys, just this universe that we live in, the infinite. I'm sweating over here right now. The infinite possibilities that we as an infinite being that we are. Sometimes we feel like we're in this finite universe, finite thoughts. Oh, I can only do so much. I only, my job sucks, or my family hates me, or whatever. Like, but you live in an infinite planet, an infinite universe. Actually, universes of universes potentially. So guys, with that said, don't complain. Why are you wasting your time complaining? If you living on an infinite plane, so fly, guys. Go out there and make the most of it, because this is a fascinating universe that we live in. There's so much that we don't know, and that is what's so amazing, because that means that it's up to you now to go and discover what else is out there. Again, my name is Vinny Rodriguez, and with all my heart, my spirit, my soul, from my universe to yours, I bring you the next in our vast book series. To everyone in the Comfort Killers Nation, I'm signing out. Until next time, and all the galaxies of the world, I'll meet you right here in this spot. Talk to you soon. Vinny, 8-Figure Vision, and we're out.